We have in the studio with us this morning the Central Otago Mayor, Tony Lepper. Tony, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Bill, and good morning to all our listeners out there.
Now, what's on the plate at the moment seems to be the annual plan consultation. Is that a major thing?
Yes, Bill, it is. Every year we go through either one or another planning process. This year it's the annual plan process, and it's the second year of our long-term 10-year plan. Okay. So you would expect there isn't too much to consult on, but there are a couple of interesting things, and I would like to talk to people about how they can get involved if they want to, and a couple of the key issues that are in there.
Good.
So this year we're not sending the consultation document out to everyone. It's online at whatever our online address is.
codc.govt.nz.
That's it. Go to our website and it's online. It's also in all our Central Otago Council buildings, our libraries and our service centres. So if there's something there you feel passionate about, go online or go into our service centre and there's a simple submission process. Now the things you might be interested in this year's annual plan is Cromwell is asking its community, what do we do with its memorial hall? Do we just earthquake strengthen it, or do we go the whole hog and spend $4 million on completely refurbishing and making it fit for purpose again? It probably was 50 years ago and it's not very fit for purpose. So the community's got a chance to say, no, just patch it up or spend a whole lot of money on it.
So they need to get involved with that one?
Yeah, they do. If they're in Cromwell, they do. That's actually not going to be financed too much by rates because they've got some land sales and they can direct those land sales towards that. So, so that's something for Cromwell to think about. On the district front, there's a couple of initiatives. You've probably been reading about it, hearing about it, the terrace toilets.
Yes.
Our solution that we've got budgeted for is about $100,000. If we want to come up with a real solution that everyone wants, then that's going to be more likely $300,000. So there's a page in our consultation document on whether we should partner with the school, the neighbours, or go a standalone toilet up there to cater for our visitors who are coming in. It's the front door to Central Otago for a lot of people. Yeah. There's some problems up there. So when we spend money like that, we've got to ask people whether we should do it or not.
Yep, that sounds fair. I'm going to put you slightly on the spot. Are there any technical, easy answers?
No, there isn't. The main problem up there is we don't own any land. It's private land, school land or roadside land, and we don't own any of that. And I'm always nervous about putting a ratepayer-funded toilet on someone else's land because we don't get to control the outcome. That's why we're looking at a partnership with the school, and we've had our initial meetings with the ministry, and we've had 3 or 4 years of talking with the local shop owners about their land. And I mean, it's not only do you need the land for the toilet block, but you need the land for the dispersal field. All right, because there's no sewerage system up there.
No, of course there isn't.
Yeah. So that's a spend that could be important to people. Now, there's a couple of new initiatives, and a couple of them are only one-offs. One's this: everyone would have heard that the Manuhirakia catchment group are trying to look at how they can make water in the Manuhirakia, all of that area sort of from probably Chato Creek out to the Maniatoto more secure. And there's lots of ways of doing that, and there's different heights so they could raise falls dams to make that happen. And that group is getting really close to putting prospectus out to farmers and see how many people want to actually get involved. And they're asking for the council to help them fund a social impact report.
What's a social impact report?
I think it's a report that says this is the benefit of water to your community, and this asks, if we build this scheme, these are some of the things that might happen. Schools might need to be bigger. You'll have to have infrastructure for more people.
But that's a given, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I could probably write that impact report on the back of a A4 piece of paper. But I don't know whether they need it for funding agencies or who they need it for. But they will be submitting to us, and we'll be looking for other people to submit to us on whether that's a good use of ratepayers' funds.
Okay.
So it's out there for people to talk about. More interesting is probably the Rocket Initiative, and if you haven't read or heard about this, there's a local group headed by Bodecker Scientific and a community and a trust, and they've got this application into the government for a huge amount of funding to do something with rockets. I mean, I've read the prospectus and things like that, but it's about using rocket science to map water to do all sorts of things around New Zealand. And if we could get this thing based, if we could get this off the ground and based in Central Otago, it'd be really, really exciting, all right? They're through stage 1 of the process, and they need some seed money to keep this process going. I think it's a 3 or 4 stage process to get the millions of dollars out of the government, and they're asking for $20,000 from the council, a one-off grant to help them do that. So I'll be interested whether people think that's the sort of thing ratepayers should be backing on it.
There's a lot will be gained by the community.
Possibly. Oh, there will be a huge amount. I mean, and they're high-paid jobs, they're skilled jobs. It's the sort of people we want to attract to Central Otago. Very difficult process to get this funding, but but these guys are beavering away in the background trying to get it, and they'd like the council and the ratepayers to help them out with a wee bit of money.
Okay, so that's something else for the community to discuss?
Yeah, that's dead right.
Yeah.
I mean, people say we should be pouring our money into infrastructure, and we are, and these are really small amounts, but pays to check with the community whether we're on the right track.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with Wilding Pines. We've already decided annually to give the Wilding Pines group $10,000 to help them with their administration so they can apply to other groups to get the bigger chunks of funding. And we've been asked to up that to $20,000 annually, so we're consulting on that as well. Now, that group already, with the couple of $10,000 we've given them, have got the Otago Regional Council more than interested. I think they're across the line with their funding almost. They've got central government funding, quite a large amount of funding for actually doing some control work. Sometimes these groups just need a bit of seed funding to get them going and get them over the line.
That's another subject that the community really needs to get involved in. It's hard to understand just how much damage these pines that we see growing here and there and everywhere, how much damage they actually do to the rest of it.
Yeah, they convinced me. I used to go, what?
Yeah,
quite like a good old pine tree sitting out on top of the hill.
Yeah.
And now as I drive from wherever I'm driving, I go, God, there's another pine tree. Wonder who's going to go and cut that one down. So yeah, I think it's accepted that wilding pines are a bit of a blight on our landscape. They take water out of systems. They do all sorts of things. And Central Otago wasn't a pine forest. So there's a bit of a debate about that. But I think we've got most people over the line, and that's why we give them a wee bit of funding.
Yeah, I saw something on telly the other day about native bush and the guy pulling wilding pines, and if they were left there, that native bush would be wiped because it smothers it.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the greatest advocates of the control of wilding pines is Maggie Barry, and she heads the Department of Conservation, and she's probably the one that helped get the Regional Council over the line by saying, if you don't do something about it, I'll make you do something about it. Yeah. People are getting quite passionate on the subject now, and 20,000 to them a year is probably not a bad investment. So that's the annual plan. So all we're asking about is these little add-ons that have come along during a year's worth of business. Yeah.
Okay, so you do an annual plan every second year. That's a bit of an oxymoron.
No. So what we do now is we do a long-term plan, which is 10 years.
Right.
But the key to that is the first 3 years are more or less fixed, all right? So the 3 years of the 10-year plan are almost fixed. The other 7 years, a bit of guessing going on, but we're trying to indicate where we're going. So what we do is on the 2 alternate years to that 3 years of the 10-year plan is we do an annual plan. And we would expect that there's very little to change,
right? Because
we've said in our long-term plan, this is what we're really going to do in the next 3 years, and this is what we hope to do in the next 10 years, all right? So when we start the fresh financial year, we have to say, okay, we've changed our mind on a couple of things, or we've had people come through the door and said, we want this. We actually now have the right not to consult on our annual plan. So if there was nothing in here that we thought was important, we wouldn't have to consult with our public. And you'll find 25% of the councils in New Zealand are sticking to exactly what they said in the long-term plan, and there's no consultation going on. It's a year off. These are just changes that came in the Local Government Act a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
we've been accused of being inflexible.
Yeah.
So if you couldn't change things for 3 years, we'd be even more inflexible, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you've had some really good news on the Young Drivers Award. How's that going?
Yeah, well, we have our Young Driver. It's a sort of a competition. It's a 2-day event where we ask people between 16 and 25, we ask their employers to give them a day off work and 1 day out of their weekend where they learn all the skills to be great drivers. And it's based at Cromwell Motorsport Park, and it's been going, can't remember, 4 or 5 years. It's a fun thing, and they learn a lot of skills. And we were a bit short getting employers to promote people to go through that, and last week we were 14 or 15, but I'm now told that we're up to 23. This event starts, I think, maybe tomorrow, and definitely finishes on Sunday, because I know I'm up there for the prize giving. I think it's this weekend. I'll have to check my diary.
It might actually be
the weekend after. Yeah, I think it's the weekend after. So obviously the midweek one will be next week, and it's the weekend after on the Sunday. Yeah,
right.
Checking my diary. And we've got a wonderful facility at Highlands Park. They offer it to them, and we have so many volunteers who do stuff for them on the day, and that's 24 or 5 kids who get to mix with each other. Not kids, young people, and their skills get enhanced. Great initiative, run by our roading team, so that's good.
Okay, what else you got for us? Yeah,
Trustpower National Community Awards.
That's the one.
I was in Dunedin, not this weekend, the weekend before, and every year we have our regional awards, and last year's winner, about May, we announced our local winner, and our local winner was the Roxburgh Gorge Trail Trust. they bring all 25 regional winners together for our national awards. And remember, the year before last, it was Sticks and Stones, we came second, and I went away to Trustpower Awards thinking, I think we've got a chance of winning this. This year I went away and I was thinking, there's been a lot of trail trusts represented in this, and how can we show that this project was different? And they did. You get to do an 8-minute presentation, which is judged by all the other 24 groups, plus a panel of expert judges. And because we're so close to it, I don't think we realise the enormity of that project, of putting that trail down that inhospitable part of the world, really. And it really went down a treat with the judges and the other groups. Now, we didn't win, but we've definitely heard we were unofficially in the top 4. We got all the talk. See, after the whole day of presentations, people come up and said, wow, you guys have really put a lot of energy into that. Not me, the representatives from the trust, but I helped them do the presentation. And it just amazed, it's so interesting when you're close to something like Central Otago and we live and breathe it every day, you forget the enormity of what that looks like to someone from somewhere else. And the aerial shots of where this track went and what the country it goes through and how breathtaking it is, it just took everyone's breath away. And we certainly did a good job of selling Central Otago.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, all your community out there, it's the annual plan. If you would like a copy of that document, just go onto the website codc.govt.nz. You'll find it right on the front page, and if you click on that, it'll take you through, and you can either print it or read it online, do whatever you like. Have a look at all of those subjects, decide whether or not you support or don't support. You can submit whether you support or not. You don't just have to be negative, you can actually send in a positive submission as well. And don't feel that you can't. Thank you very much for coming in to us today and seeing you once again.
Yeah, no problems at all. It's Central Otago's turned on a lovely day. It's starting to feel just a wee bit autumnish.
It is, isn't it? Yes, it's 19 tomorrow and another wee bit spurt of summer at 25 on Saturday, but not much else.
That'll do.
That'll do. Okay, everybody, thank you so much, Tony. Thank you for being with us.